Faisal Abdullah, can you repeat the answer? Can you
Okay, I
define
will repeat my
ionic
answer,
bond?
Mister. Ionic it's the complete transfer of valence electrons between atoms.
Yes, teacher. Ionic bonds, the electrostatic forces that holds ions together in an ionic compound.
Faisal, can you repeat the answer?
Okay, Mister. Which my answer or his answer?
Ionic bond.
His answer.
Can you repeat it once, please?
Electrostatic forces that hold ions together in ionic compounds.
Okay, before we continue our lesson, please open your textbook, chapter 7, section 2, page 201. I will ask any student in the class, please bring your textbook and open your textbook, section 2, page 201. Now, let's start again. Who can define ionic compounds?
ترك المشهد يا أستاذ.
مازن
إحمال جيران.
Just raise your hands. I will. Okay. Badran.
Just 1 second, 1 second.
Muhannad.
Yes, ionic compound is a compound composed of cations and anions.
Cations, and anions. Repeat.
Compound. Yes.
Ionic compounds.
Yes, ionic compound is a compound composed of cations and
Not cations. Not
Cations,
cations.
cations.
Cation. Cation.
Chloride atoms.
ions. Yes, and
Not anions. Not quotient. Cations and anions.
cations
Repeat your
and
answer.
anions. Ionic bond is a compound.
Ionic.
Yes, cations and anions.
I ask you to define ionic compound. Ionic compound
Is a
is
compound composed of cations and anions.
and anion.
Chloride.
And
Chloride anions.
anion.
Chloride anions.
Who can repeat the answer? Who
Me,
can
Badran.
define ionic
Turkey,
compound?
ترك
Faisal
المشهد يا
Abdullah.
أستاذ.
Yes, Mister. The definition of compound is the combination between
Wow.
and cations.
Faisal Abdullah.
Yes,
Which
can you
page
hear
you
me?
are in which page you are reading? From which page?
Mister, I'm not reading from a page. I'm reading
Okay.
from a definition I
Define
wrote.
ionic compounds. Define ionic compounds.
Ionic compound, Mister. An ionic compound is a chemical compound composed of ions held together by electrostatic forces termed ionic bonding.
Where is your textbook, please?
Mister, it's with me, but that's another definition I wrote.
Where is your textbook?
It's with me, Mister.
Okay, open your
Okay, Mister.
textbook, chapter 7, section 2. Who can define ionic compounds?
Me,
مازن
Badran.
أنت
تركي
تسأل.
مستر.
Fahad
تركي يا
al-Barrad.
أستاذ.
Fahad al-Barrad.
Yes, mister.
Define ionic compound.
Ionic compound is a compound composed of cations and anions.
And excellent. Who can define ionic bonds? Raise your
مازن
hands.
جدا يسأل.
Raise your
هذا
hands.
بدران.
Raise your hands. Turkey.
جزاك الله خير أستاذ. So ionic bonds are the electrostatic forces that hold ions together in ionic compounds.
Who can repeat the answer?
مازن على الجلد أستاذ.
Just raise your hands. Don't mention your name. Sulaiman, Ammar.
Electrostatic forces that hold ions together in ionic compounds.
Okay, who can read the first key question?
Turkey أستاذ.
Who can read the first
Can you hear me, mister?
key question? Just raise your hand, please.
Mister, can you hear me?
Ali Lasker. Ali Lasker. Ali Fallata. Ali Fallata. Abdullah Al-Mangur.
Okay.
Read the first key
What is
question.
What is the electrical charge of an ionic bond? Do I answer it?
Ionic bond or ionic compound?
A compound. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Ionic compound.
Can you answer the question?
Yes, teacher. Although they're composed of ions and ionic compounds are electrically neutral.
Are electrically neutral. Electrically neutral. Okay, Ali Lasker. I saw your chat. Please fix your micro as soon as possible. Okay, who can define chemical formula? Bed chemical formula.
تركي مستر.
يا اخي بس ارفع يدك خلاص.
Who can define chemical formula? Ali Fallata.
تركي مستر.
Ali
لا إله إلا
Fallata.
الله. اسكت.
Ali Fallata.
Yes, teacher.
Can you define chemical formula?
Yeah. Chemical formula shows the number of atoms of each element in the smallest representative unit of a substance.
A chemical formula, it is a formula which shows number of
atoms of each element in the smallest represent unit of substance.
Okay, who can repeat the answer?
تركي مستر.
مازن على الجلد أستاذ.
Abdurrahman Al-Jiban.
Yes, teacher. The chemical formula shows the number of atoms of each element in the smallest representative unit of a substance.
Okay. Who can define formula unit? Who can define formula unit? Who can define formula unit? Let me see.
حسن أستاذ.
صالح القحطاني. صالح القحطاني. صالح القحطاني. You are not.
Hello, teacher. I am here.
Okay. Can you define formula unit?
What?
Can you define formula unit?
Okay. Is the lowest whole, okay, teacher, number ratio and the ions and the ionic compound.
Can you repeat your answer, please?
Okay, teacher.
Chemical formula is?
Okay, is the lowest whole number ratio of the ions in the ionic compound.
Ratio
of the ions in an ionic compound.
Of ions in an ionic compound. In an ionic compound. Mazen, can you repeat the answer?
Of course, teacher. Formula unit is the lowest whole number ratio of ions in an ionic compound.
Compound. Okay. Now, let's open your textbook page 203. 203. Question number 10. Let's try to answer question number 10. Who can read the question?
مين مصر تركيا صح.
فهد البراك. Can you read the question? Question number 10 here in your textbook, page 203. Fahad al-Barrak.
Yes, mister.
Can you read question number 10?
Okay. Question number 10. Use electrons dot structures to determine formulas of ionic compounds formed when A. Potassium reacts with iodine and B. Aluminium reacts with oxygen.
Potassium reacts with iodine and aluminum reacts with oxygen. Okay. We want to, here he is asking us to write the chemical formula. Okay. The chemical formula for two compounds, two ionic compounds, Na when potassium reacts with iodine, and B when aluminum reacts with oxygen. Now, the first things, when we want to determine any chemical formula for ionic compounds, we have to know the group number, okay, the group number of the elements in the periodic table, okay?
Yeah.
To determine number of valence electrons in each
Potassium is 2.
element. Now, who can help me to answer question number A? Potassium.
مين مصر.
Potassium. We want
It's
to
1.
determine the chemical formula for the first section.
A.
Okay,
May I
A.
do it مصر.
Okay, let me change the screen here. Okay. Now, who will help me to answer section A? Now we are answering.
ترك المشهد يا صاحبي.
Don't mention your name. Just raise your hands, please. Okay. Question number 10. 203. Please open your notebook. Potassium. What is the symbol of potassium?
K, Mr.
A, teacher.
Just raise your hand, please. Okay. In which group potassium exists?
Group 1, Mr.
Raise your hand.
Group 1, Mr.
Just raise your hands. Just raise your hands. Badran. In which group?
Potassium is in group 1.
Group 1. This means it has 1
electrons. One is electron.
How many valence electrons for potassium here?
1.
1. So we will draw 1 dot for potassium. Okay, potassium in A with iodine. Iodine, the symbol of iodine.
In group 17. It is in group 17.
Okay, the symbol of iodine is?
I.
I, capital I. How many dots we can draw here?
7.
How many dots? Abdurrahman.
7.
7 dots.
7 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay.
We add dots referring to its valence electrons.
Yes.
Can you speak louder?
Teacher, we put the dots on how much the atom have valence electrons.
I didn't hear you. Your voice is very.
How do you we know how the atom has how many dots?
How many dots from group number? For example, here potassium in group number 1. Okay?
Yes.
When any element exists in group number 1, it has one valence electron. So we draw one dot. In group number 2, 2. In group number 13 or 3A, 3 dots, 3 valence electron, and so on. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. Now, how potassium atom react with iodine? Mazen, تفضل.
So we're gonna take the electron on the potassium to put it in the iodine, so it's gonna make the stable electron, يعني stable atom, because it's gonna make 8 electrons.
The electron here will transfer to iodine atom, okay, and potassium will be written as like this, K positive, without any dots, because the potassium atom
is
tends
losing
to
electron.
lose the valence electron, and iodine will
One negative, teacher. Its
negative.
charge is negative.
Okay, negative anion. And how many dots will we will draw here?
8.
8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the chemical formula unit for potassium and iodine will be what?
Ki.
K1
I.
I.
Yes, K1.
Ki. Okay, this is for A. Now for B.
ما ينصر.
In B, aluminum reacts with oxygen. Okay. Raise your hand, please.
My hand
What is the symbol of aluminum? Raise your hands.
AL.
Raise your hands. فيصل بناهية. فيصل بناهية. What is the symbol of aluminum? Only for students who knows the answer.
Mr. symbol of what? I can't hear you well, Mr.
Aluminum.
Okay.
The symbol of aluminum.
Teacher, it is Al.
Al. Excellent. Al. And oxygen.
Oh.
Just raise your hands, please. Oxygen. Oxygen.
Who,
What is
Mr.?
the symbol of oxygen?
I'm raising my hand.
Mr., we are raising our hands. Choose,
Faisal.
O.
O. Okay. Now, in which group aluminum exists in the periodic table? Turkey.
My hand is raised. Yes, it's in group 13 or 3A.
Group
So it has 3
13
valence
or
electrons.
3A. So we will draw
3 valence electrons.
3 valence electrons, 3 dots for aluminum.
Yeah.
Okay. And Abdullah al-Mango. Abdullah.
Yes,
Oxygen
teacher.
in which group?
16 or 6A.
6A. How many valence electron?
6.
6. So we draw 6 dots. Now, how they will react with each other?
ما ينصر.
موازنة جدا وناس.
مازن، تفضل.
Yes.
تركيا صح.
So teacher, we know that the oxygen has 6 valence electrons, so it needs 8 valence electrons to be stable. So we're going to take 2 valence electrons from aluminium.
Okay. Here number 1, and here number 2. Okay. Now oxygen is stable, but aluminum is not stable.
No.
Still, yes, still. So
we'll need another oxygen.
we'll need another oxygen, and it's going to have 7 valence electrons. This
Okay,
oxygen.
we
So
need another oxygen, and this
6
oxygen
master.
is going
6.
to needs how many electrons?
7.
6.
This electron will
Comes to the oxygen.
Yes, come here, it will be 7.
okay.
Yeah.
So we
And then
need
another aluminum atom.
another aluminum.
So
Okay.
3 valence electrons, 1 to the oxygen.
This will go here. So we need
1 oxygen atom.
Yes, one
another
oxygen atom is going to be.
atom. Excellent.
And then the aluminum is going to be
And
stable
then we're
because
going
it's
to
going to
take the
transfer 2
2
electrons to the oxygen atom.
electrons, so it's going to be stable for the oxygen and stable for the aluminium.
Okay.
So it's
So
it's going to be
chemical
aluminium.
formula,
So it's going to be aluminium 2
A2O3.
and
what is the chemical formula?
A2O3.
What is the formula unit?
Al2, mister, and then O3.
Al2 and O3.
O3, mister.
O3. O.
Yeah. C. Aluminum oxide.
Okay. Please write the answer of question number 10.
Mister, I sent
You
question
got
10
box?
on Google Classroom.
Or take screenshot. Write the answer of question number 10. Did you write the answer?
Yes.
Yes, mister.
Yes, teacher.
Finished?
Yes.
Who is still writing the answer of question number 10? Please take screenshot so we can go to question number 11 now. 3, 2, 1.
Teacher, should I download it on Google Classroom? Question 10 and 11?
No.
Okay.
Now, let's try to answer question number 11. Question number 11, page 203. Who can read the question?
مين مستر؟ ترك المدح اليسار.
تفضل ترك.
ما زال.
زاد فضلك يا أستاذ. So question 11. What is the formula of the ionic compound composed of calcium cations and chloride anions?
Calcium and
Calcium cations and chloride anions.
anion. Okay, what is the symbol of calcium?
C, mister.
Ca.
It's in
C.
لا C.
A.
No,
C.
Okay.
not number 2.
لا C.
Okay.
Carbon.
Now, what is the symbol of chloride?
Cl.
Cl. Okay. Here in this question, he is not asking you to use the electron dot structure to determine the chemical formula. Okay?
He's using octet rule.
Now, I'm going to teach you another way to write or to find the chemical formula for ionic compounds. Okay? Okay?
Okay, teacher.
Now, in which group calcium exists in
2.
the periodic table?
2A.
Group 2. Now, any element in group 2 has 2 valence electrons, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And as I mentioned in the last class, when number of valence electrons lower than 4, the element tends to
Go to 0.
gain or lose. electrons?
Lose, Mr.
Lose electrons. Now,
Yeah.
when calcium atom tends to lose the valence electron, it will lose 2 electrons. Okay.
Okay.
So the charge for calcium cation will be 2 positive.
Yeah.
And any element with valence electrons more than 3, I mean
Gains.
4, 5, 6, 7, tends to gain or lose electrons.
Gain electrons.
Gain electrons. So
Yeah.
it can has form 8 electrons, right?
Yes.
Now, how many valence electrons for chlorine atom here?
7, teacher.
7. So it tends to gain how many electrons?
1.
1 electron.
1. Okay. We will write here negative.
Yep.
Okay. It will form an ion with charge equal -1. Now, we will give the charge of calcium to chlorine atom and chlorine atom to calcium. So the chemical formula will be Ca
A.
Cl2.
1 Cl2.
2.
Now, do we write 1?
The one, no.
No.
No. So the chemical formula actually is
CaCl2.
Cl2.
L2. CaCl2.
Okay. This is the answer of question number 11. Please write the answer.
عادي تعيد بس
Fast
الشرح
as you
استاذ.
can.
عادي تعيد استاذ. انا الحين ليه حطينا CL2 استاذ؟ عشان تجينت ايش؟ لان احنا استخدمنا 2 كلورايد.
Mazen, this
Yes.
is another way to write a chemical formula. Okay? For example, if I want to write a chemical formula for aluminum and oxygen.
Yes.
Okay? The charge for aluminum is +3,
3
right?
Yes.
Oxygen
Is -6.
-2.
-2, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
the chemical formula will be, or the formula unit for the ionic compound will be Al2O3, just
3.
okay.
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 فهمت إيه ذا.
Right. Okay. For calcium and oxygen.
For calcium and oxygen. أول شيء بتقول يا أستاذ calcium is +2.
Okay.
And oxygen is -2.
-2.
So it's going to be calcium. So it's going to be calcium 2 and oxygen 2.
Okay. Can you
Peter, I have
define?
a question.
Can you define the formula unit?
Yeah.
Yes, teacher. 2 to 2.
The lowest.
يعني
The lowest whole number ratios, Mr.
the lowest number whole. The lowest whole number ratio.
Okay. Can you simplify the numbers here? If you wrote P2 or 2, we can.
Yes, you can simplify and get rid. So it's going to be CaO.
CaO.
Oh, so when the charge of cation, okay, equals the charge of an ion, just the opposite sign, okay, we just write the 2 symbol of the elements in the compound, okay.
Peter, I have a question.
And another thing I have to say to you, when we write the formula unit or chemical formula for ionic compound, we always start with the cation and then we write the anion. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yes, Mr.
Any question?
teacher. Yes,
No,
I do.
Mr.
Further.
زاد فضلك هسه. Teacher, how did you know that the charge of oxygen is -2?
From the group number, as I mentioned in the last
6A.
class.
It is in 6A.
It needs 2 more to become stable.
6A, -2.
Because it needs two more electrons to be stable.
I will write it tomorrow, okay? Now we are
Okay.
at the end of our class here. I have only just 1
Thank you,
minute
Mr.
to take the attendance. Please write the answer of question 11 here. This is 11, question 11. I will just write the answer of question 11 and allow me to take the attendance by taking screenshot here. Then you can leave the class. Don't leave before I take a screenshot for your names, please.
Mr. Maher. Mr. Maher.
Wait.
Okay.
Give me seconds. Yes.
I sent the homework and the key terms and the keywords on the classroom.
Okay.
Me too. I just
Thank you. I will see it after the class. Okay.
Thank you,
You
Mr.
are
Fawzi.
allowed now. This is the end of our lesson today. Please review section 2 from the beginning. Okay. We will continue studying section 2 tomorrow also. Okay. See you tomorrow. You can leave the class. Thank you for everyone here.
Thank you, Mr.